Welcome to Mountain Stream TV. Today is November 5th, 2025, the day after the elections, and we're in the middle of a government shutdown right now, so that may enter into our conversation today too, or it may not. This is part of our Community Preservation Forum series of interviews where we talk with leaders of nonprofit organizations and government agencies about programs that they have that assist the people of our community. And generally we talk about health, nutrition, education, housing, and today the program we're going to cover is transit, public transit in Jackson County. Our guest is Rene Moore, the director of Jackson Transit, and she's going to tell us something about herself and her position at Jackson Transit and all the programs that they have available and how the public transit works in Jackson County. So, welcome to Mountain Stream TV, and we're looking forward to hearing what you have to tell us.
Okay, very good. Thank you. You said something about me talking about myself just a little bit. I'll flip back here because I don't have the dates memorized. I've worked at Transit since November of 2013. I came there as a part-time driver, which is basically all that I wanted at the time, was just about that many hours. Well, time went on and I went in as a full-time driver. I drove for about 3 years. Things changed and an assistant director was needed. I applied for that position and received it, so I worked there as the assistant director from 2018 until last year in December. So I've been there almost for a year as the director. Mm-hmm. The current director, the director that we had then was leaving, and I really had no intention of applying for that position, but was encouraged to do so, and I did and received it. Now, as far as the operations part of transit, I knew a lot about that.
I'd say after working there that long.
I have been there.
Yeah.
But as far as the other things, it's been a learn as you go situation with the director as far as the financial part, the grants, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well to let you know about the grants that we receive. And I'm truthfully still learning because I've only been in that position for a little bit less than a year. I was going to tell you what the mission statement was for people because I think it's a good one. It is to provide dependable, regular, affordable transportation for persons in Jackson County by coordinating resources and expertise within the local and state governments, consumer agencies, and the community. And I would have to say that it is a good service. It does help a lot of people that for whatever reason they do not have transportation. Maybe they don't have it as a temporary situation, or maybe more as a permanent situation, because some of the people that we provide transportation for have just given up driving because of partly because of their age sometimes, or their situations change. Everybody's situation changes, and so we do provide a good service, I think, and it is good that people realize that and take advantage of it. The vision statement for transit is to be recognized as the leading innovative resource in rural mountainous transportation, which is also a good statement. But I think we had talked a little bit about maybe some history of transit.
Sure.
And what I came up with on that was, because I wasn't there that long, in the 1980s, early 1980s, the Jackson County Council on Aging purchased 3 vans. That kind of started the transportation part of that, but it was mostly for elderly people, senior citizens. Then in 2002, a more modern transit system began with more vans, more spread out for anyone to use the transit. It wasn't just for elderly or senior citizens at that point. And in between those times, vans were purchased that had the lift on them for mobility help for people that needed it, whether it be a walker that they couldn't manage the steps, or whether it's a person that uses a wheelchair that needs the lift to be able to get from point A to point B and to get on the van. And that's a good thing, and that's where we are right now. We have, let me look, because I have to write these things down. I can't remember. We have at this present time in our vehicle fleet, we have 2 Nissan Pathfinders, which are 4-wheel drive. That's the only 4-wheel drive vehicles that we have. You can transport 6 people in those, which is basically just a small SUV. We have 2 of those. We have 1 ADA minivan, which will accommodate one wheelchair, and then it will accommodate 3 riders if you don't have a wheelchair. But it's a nice little van to have maybe on the longer trips that you might need to take, as opposed to the high top vans, which are mobility vans, and they are lift equipped. And when I say a high top van, that is so that people can board and stand up, and walk on the van.
So the other
6
ones
of those
look like regular buses.
Yeah, they're and you might have seen the trolley vehicle that loops around town. You've probably seen it before. Comes by the library here every hour. That's a second service. We have a door-to-door service, and we have the trolley service. Now, to get in contact with us for either of those, it's the same number. You dial the 586-0233 number and speak with the dispatcher or whomever answers the phone that works there. We have 2 of those LTVs that will haul 8 passengers, but they do have the lift on those as well, should anyone need it. We do have a 16-passenger van that we don't use as much, and we have a 20-passenger LTV van. It is basically used for trips that we provide for the senior center. A few times a year we will take a large group.
So like a trip to Asheville for the seniors?
It could be to Asheville. Sometimes they go to Pigeon Forge in Tennessee, just various places, and they will use us for that if they need that many people, if they have that big of a group going. That's primarily what we use that biggest van for. And that is a nice thing to have, and it's we've been able to use that quite a bit with them. Now I don't know where you want to go from there. I've given you a little bit of my background and a little bit of transit.
Well, let's start with, I guess, the Jackson Trolley. This is the service that goes around through Silva and Dillsboro and Webster, I guess.
Yes, it starts at the top of the hour in Dillsboro, and it makes its round. It comes up to Harold's Supermarket, then onto Savannah Drive, and up and around by the library here. This is a regular stop. Onto Main Street, then it goes up and goes down by McDonald's on Harold Street, and then loops back around and comes up by the hospital and back down, ends up at Walmart. And there's stops along the way. There's regular stops on that route, but anyone can request a stop in between just by requesting it. And we do deviate off that route up to a quarter of a mile if need be. We go twice a day to Rose's or the Justice Center. We have a 10:55 pickup time and a 2:55 pickup time. We don't go up there every hour. Other than that, we end up back in Dillsboro at the top of the hour again and start another route, same route. That just allows people to get on and off. Even if we pick up someone that is, say, in the Colby area, now the trolley stays in the city limits. But if they get picked up with a door-to-door pickup and they have several things to do in town, like several stops, they might utilize the trolley to go from one stop to the other while they're in town. And it costs $1 when you board the trolley. It's $1.
And then there's also a pass book that you can
Yes.
buy multiple tickets at a discount.
There's a ticket book that you get 20 tickets in that little ticket book for $15, which makes it a little cheaper than the $1 amount. But then those do not expire. But now we do sell a monthly pass that's only good for that month. For instance, it's good from the 1st of November to the last of November. But with that pass, you get unlimited rides. You ride as many times as you want to that month for that $20.
So if you have the ticket book and say you go to Walmart from Dillsboro, that would be one ticket, and then when you get on again at Walmart to go back, you do
That's another ticket.
Okay.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
And we do have quite a few riders that use the ticket books.
Who are mainly the riders that you have? Are they people?
We have, go ahead.
Well, people like, I forgot the name of the apartments down by Harold's.
Right, we do have, like from Nicole Arms, those apartments there. Jackson Village is on that same road. We do have several from those places that ride. We have a few people that use the trolley service for employment as well. And we have more people that use the door-to-door because a lot of our riders that use us for employment go to the Cullowhee area that work at the college.
So there isn't any regular route that goes to...
No, we don't have that fixed route or deviated fixed route like the trolley is to go. We only have that one, and it stays within the city limits. And that being said, trolley service, you do not need to schedule. You don't have to call and schedule. If you're going to be picked up somewhere other than a regular stop, you do need to call and let us know so we can radio the driver and let them be aware of where you need to be picked up.
And that could be like a half hour before you want to be there? Or?
Yeah, something like that. We don't like for you to call too far ahead because we like to keep it closer to time so the driver doesn't forget. Like we don't want to tell them 2 hours ahead of time because we don't want them to forget that. But now, that being said, the door-to-door service, you do have to schedule. Everything we do with that is scheduled so that we can get everyone for the next day. Get everyone scheduled, and we have a 2:00 cutoff time on the business day before. We don't take appointments after that to give the dispatcher time to get everyone into the schedule for the next day.
And that would be like if you needed to go to the doctor's office or something?
And that being also, it doesn't mean that you have to call the day before. You can call and schedule, a week before, a month before is fine. But we do have a cutoff time because kind of have to in order to get everyone into the schedule for the next day. Our schedule changes every day because people's needs change.
Yeah.
It's not the same every day.
What does it cost for door-to-door service?
If you're in the city limits, it's $1. If you are in the Cullowhee area, it's $3. That's an example. $3 to come into Silva, $3 to go back. If you're farther out, Cherokee, and we only go down to to the where McDonald's and Food Line is there in Cherokee. We don't go past there because their transit services that area. And from there, it's a $5 fee because it's farther out. We do serve quite a few people in the Whittier area, as long as it's still in Jackson County. We do not go into another county and pick up people. We only pick up people in Jackson County. But we do go for medicals. On Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we go to the Asheville, Hendersonville area. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we go to Macon County, if needed, Macon County, Haywood County, and Swain County. And those are typically medical appointments that we do with those. We do quite a few trips to the Asheville airport, and we don't limit that to just to Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Are there hour limitations though? Like wouldn't go over there for a 6 o'clock flight in the morning?
No, we do not. The earliest that we can get someone over there is typically about 9 o'clock in the morning, and the latest that we'll pick up is about 2, because our hours at transit begins at 7 and ends at 5. So we've got to get all the drivers back in, let them get their end of the day things done, their post-trip inspections, and turn their monies in and all that. So we have to have a cutoff time as well for that. Now, if we have medical trips that go, and we do have several that go to the Asheville area or any of the out-of-county areas, the driver waits for that person to finish. Because it's just not feasible for them to drive back to Jackson County and then go back. It's just, that just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it's too many deadhead miles, as we call it.
Right.
So that's kind of how that works. Of course, for the airport trips, we try to coordinate those if we already have a person going up to that area for an appointment. If we can put those together, we of course do. We also do some trips to the bus station there. Those are not as frequent as they used to be. It's more than airport.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, especially, well, I say especially because I think that the majority of our trips to the airport a lot of times are affiliated with Western Carolina University. They use us for that. That's good. It's a $33 fare to pick up someone in Colby and take them to the airport, and $33 to come back. And the reason it's a $33 amount, it's $30 from Silva to the airport, and we tag on that $3 from Colby to Silva. So if that makes sense. So those are the two types of services that we have: the trolley service, and then the door-to-door service. And when I say door-to-door, we do that. We go to your house, and the drivers can assist if they need to the door. They don't go inside. They do not help people because they're not trained to do so. They're trained as drivers only. They do not help someone get into their wheelchair if they need. Someone else needs to have them ready to go. Now they can help them down the ramp and to the bus, and of course onto the lift, and get them secured. But we do not go inside the home. And the drivers are not required to assist people with their packages when they get home. But typically they do. If need be, they will help. If someone is having trouble getting their groceries or something to the door, I think all of our drivers will do that, even though they're not required to do so.
So speaking about groceries, if I went to Walmart and got a bunch of groceries, and would you suggest that I would just wait for the trolley? Is there enough room for groceries and stuff like that?
That is a good question.
Or call to have I guess I'd have to call the day before to arrange for somebody to pick me up at Walmart.
Well, if you are doing the door-to-door service, when you call to schedule for us to pick you up, we automatically, unless you say, I only need one way, we automatically have it in the system to take you back home when you get
Oh,
through.
oh.
You just call when you get through, and we
Uh-huh.
come and pick you up and take you back.
Oh, that's great.
But we do have a 2-bag limit for groceries or anything, and I've said this so many times to people. That doesn't mean 2 little Walmart bags. We actually have some bags that we give out to people when they first start riding, and I think they hold like 30 pounds each, which is probably packed.
That's
When
quite a
you
bit.
pack that in there, that's all you'd want to carry anyway.
Right.
But we do have to have a limit on that because typically you're not the only person on the vehicle. So you got to make sure those aisles are kept clean and uncluttered. And so we do have that rule, 2-bag limit on the groceries or whatever you have, yeah.
And if I was just riding the trolley, let's say, then to get back to where I started, I would go through the whole loop again.
Yeah, you do
Right.
have to go through the loop again.
And why is that rather than having, like, the bus pretty much travels the same route back and
does.
forth, so why wouldn't you go to the Walmart again on the way back?
It's a lot of it is the timing to keep us on schedule, because people are accustomed and they have learned that use the trolley. For instance, it starts at 7 o'clock in Dillsboro. It's on Main Street at 7:10. It's at Walmart at 7:35. And if you do too much of that on that trip coming back, like if you stopped a second time at Walmart to pick up or to drop off someone, if you do that a couple of times, then you're completely off schedule, and it's hard to catch back up. Sometimes they get behind on schedule anyway just because of traffic. But if you did too much of that, and that's one of the reasons we only go to the to Rose's and the Justice Center up there once in the morning on the morning route, once in the afternoon route, is to try to maintain that schedule and not get it. You know, it's kind of tight. I brought a brochure that shows the times for each stop, but I mean I gave you some examples of times, but if you did too much of that, then you could never get back on schedule. And we do have a driver that drives from 7 until 12, and then we switch, and another driver drives from 12 to 5. That's a lot of, it's just really too much for one driver. An 8-hour day would be a 10-hour day, really, to do that all day. But that's how we do that. We switch out drivers at noon.
How many drivers do you
We have 5 full-time drivers, and I jotted that down as well, and we've got 4 part-time drivers right now, but we have 2 part-time positions that are open right now as well. And as far as that goes, for people that work in the office, we have myself, and then I have an assistant director, a dispatcher, and an operations supervisor who is responsible for the training part for the drivers. We have quite a bit of training that they do for new employees, and then annual training for those that have been there, and they have annual training every year. And he does that, but he also drives as well. He still helps out when we need a driver. He still helps with that as well. So that is some of the, I mean, that's pretty much, that's the whole staff. And we have some, a really good group of drivers. They really are good, and they're very good to we have 2-way radios on all the vans, and if someone's not sure, because as you may or may not know, road signs are not always there when you go to a place that you may not have been before. The road sign may not even be there. It may not be labeled. The sign may be gone. So the drivers can assist each other by saying, giving a landmark of you're close to them by some type of landmark. So I'm saying it really is a good group of drivers that we have.
So how many people use the service, like in a week or a day?
Well,
or-
I did jot down for the fiscal year 24 through 25, we had 22,137 trips for that fiscal year.
That's both trolley and door-to-door?
Yes, it is. That's everything right there. Now, prior to COVID, our numbers were a little higher than that. Through COVID, we pretty much didn't do anything for a few months. The only transportation we provided through that time was to take people to dialysis because they had to go, and we had maybe 4 people that desperately needed to get there, and so we had drivers that offered to do so. So there was a time period there that we did not have the trolley service, and we didn't do the door-to-door other than those clients that went to dialysis, and we took them and then picked them up and took them home. Now, that being said, it was a slow go for us to build back up to what we were before. And we're getting there, but I don't think we're quite back there even now. But typically we have a pretty full schedule of through the day. Now, typically we run about around 100 to 120 per day, but that is including everyone. That's taking the person where they're going and then taking them back home, and then if they have an extra stop, if it's a door-to-door service, then that would count as 3 trips. And that being said, as far as the fares go, if we pick up someone in, I'll use Cullowhee again, and bring them to, say, Ingalls, and then they want picked up at Ingalls to go to Walmart, those extra stops, we only charge $1 for that, but then it's the $3 fare to go back. Your extra stops are $1, which is pretty reasonable, I think. But
I've been to Esses before. I live on Cope Creek
yep.
near Oldfield Cemetery,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not in Silva, but
It's not in Silva, so you're $2 to go
$2.
to your $2 to go to Walmart.
All right.
Yeah. I was going to talk a little bit about the funding that we receive. I have been working on, for my first time, on the grants that we apply for. We have one that's a 5311 Community Transportation Grant Program that we apply for, which gives us, it supports 90% of the capital. For instance, the vans that we receive, they pay 90%. County matches 10% for that.
Is that a federal grant or
It's
state?
a federal. That one's a federal. And on the time frame that we can replace computers or furniture. I'm looking at maybe next year, hopefully replacing the 2-way radios in the vans because they've been in there, I don't know how many years, but they've been in there a long time. So that would be something that we could apply for, which would help us very much financially to have them cover 90% of that. That 5311 grant also pays 85% of the salary and fringe for myself and the assistant director. It pays 85% of the admin costs for things like office supplies, drug testing, training, marketing, promotions. Those are some of the things that we can use that money for, that we are allotted from the Federal Transit Authority. There's another program called we call it the ROPE program, which is Rural Operating Assistance Program. That is through the NCDOT, Public Transportation Division. It helps us with just the general public trips. The elderly disabled transportation program, which is called the EdTap, that's part of that program. It helps with employment. It helps us with our operating costs, like the driver's salaries and vehicle repairs and maintenance and things like that. So we get some money from that, which is a help for those things. We do have a 5310 grant, which is also a federal funded grant. It's for people that are 65 or over, or they have a disability. They will fill out a very simple form. If they're over 65, all they have to do is sign it, stating that we get their date of birth and whatnot. If it's someone with a disability, if they're under 65, then we have them have someone, a doctor or someone that just can verify that they do have a disability. And right now, thankfully, with that money, you can, if you qualify for that, you can ride for $1 anywhere in the county. If you could qualify for that program, it's $1 regardless of where you are in the county.
No, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, that's a good one too. But now, if you go out of the county, the trips to Asheville is a $50 round trip for that. Now, if you're general public and your trips to out of the county, it's a mileage rate. And our mileage rate at this time is $2.88 a mile. So that that is expensive. And I tell people, I'm sorry, that would be more than I probably would want to pay for that. But we work to do the best we can with that. A lot of our out-of-county trips is funded through DSS for people that have Medicaid, and they qualify for those. So it's a matter of us billing Medicaid for those trips. So we do still have quite a few of those. But this 5310 grant is really a good one, I think, for people that need it to go anywhere in the county for $1 each way.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Sounds like you're pretty dependent on federal grants.
We are. That is a
And
big part
have you
of our
had any
funding.
problems so far?
We have not so far. And I've had people call and ask if there's going to be any change in transportation. And I said no, not until we're just going to keep going like we're going until I'm told differently. And I've not been.
Boy, that
I've
sounds
not heard anything.
amazing.
I've not heard anything yet as of
You
yet.
haven't seen the 2026 budget yet?
For we do the budgets a year ahead. So the 26 budget was
So you're
already.
funded through next year?
Yeah, we're funded through next year.
Who maintains the vehicles?
The county garage here for Jackson County, that we take them there for servicing, like your regular oil changes, and the operations supervisor that I talked about before, he's responsible for that. He keeps up with that. We have to take them every 5,000 miles. Everything is documented, so they are well maintained. The only time that if it's something happens to a van that the county garage cannot take care of, if it's above what they can do, then we'll take it to a dealership or wherever we need to get repairs done. But typically they take care of the maintenance, and they take care of all the oil changes and that regular maintenance like that, which is really good for us because that's 10 minutes from our office up there, so that's good.
So when you want to get a new vehicle, do you go through the state purchasing system?
We have to. That's part of the grant application. We are receiving 3 new vehicles this year. I have ordered them. Probably won't receive them until maybe June of next year. They have to meet their lifetime. Well, the mileage, let me just put it that way. The mileage has to be 100,000 miles. That is the DOT guidelines that we go by for that. So when they meet that many miles, then we're eligible to apply for a new one.
Oh,
That
okay,
we
so,
will get. And then what we do is we will, the county finance office will do a public surplus. They do it with all the county vehicles, and ours will be part of that. And it, whoever buys that, and they go. Well, I don't have anything to do with that. It goes through that public surplus.
they look like on a list to see what's available?
Yeah. There's a website actually that shows the vehicle,
And this is all like the state has a contract with Ford or
absolutely.
somebody.
There's only probably 3 dealerships that have the contracts with the state, and those are the dealerships that we use, except for like the Nissans that were due to be replaced when I first became the director. And quite honestly, I had no clue how to do all those things, but I got through it. And there was none of the contractors that had those. So I had to go out to 3 different places and get, quotes from 3 different places and go through that whole process, and ended up, of course, with the one that we could get the vehicles that were the lesser amount, and got those replaced, so that worked well. So there are times that you can go outside of that, but there's another whole process for that. If you use the contracted dealerships, then it's much simpler. It's just a matter of ordering what you want, or you don't have a lot of choice. They're pretty much the same, but you have a little bit of choice on what you order. And that being said, we also do a propane conversion kit on the vehicles, because and that is also a grant funded thing that they pay for 90% of that, because the propane is it's supposed to be cleaner burning, and it also is more efficient.
So all the vehicles are propane?
Well, they were. The older vehicles that we are phasing out and the new ones coming in. The older ones, the people that, the company that put those on somehow stopped coming to work on them, and we had issues with that. Now, locally, Blossman has a contract with the state now, and they're going to do our propane conversion. We have one, and that has already been done. So as we phase the old ones out and the new ones come in, they'll get newer, and I think they're better. And the conversion kits are better than they were several years ago. So that I thought that would be of interest too, that we have those conversion
that's good.
kits on there.
Have you given any thought to converting to electric vehicles?
We have looked at that, because that's a thing that's coming. We don't have that just yet, but I have a feeling that the contractors will. It won't be far out until they'll be selling offering those as well, and probably already have in some places. I don't know, but that's something that's coming soon, I'm sure. I don't know a whole lot about that. I need to learn more about that.
It seems like something like the trolley where there's low mileage,
Right.
would be really good for electric
Right.
vehicles.
It would be.
Maybe going to Asheville and back. Like
Right.
I have a Leaf, and I can just barely make it to Asheville
Right.
and back.
Right.
So you'd need a longer range.
But that would certainly be something that we could do, like you said, maybe with a trolley, or for those that are just going to be local the day of. If you have one or maybe 2 electric vehicles, then you can use those vehicles for the lesser miles for that day.
Right.
And certainly you can change them out as needed. So, yeah, that is, and I have read some about that, but I haven't got there just yet on those, but I think that's something that's coming soon.
Notice that they removed the charging station in Hillsborough.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about
I don't know about that. I don't know why they moved it.
Yeah.
Maybe because it
Sure
never
don't.
worked where it was.
Was that,
Well, it was down for repairs a couple times, or not working a couple times when I looked at it. I don't know for sure. So do you have any plans for expansion in the future? Or like, I don't know, I just have things like going to cashiers on a regular basis
Which-
or out to
We-
toward Cowie to pick people up along the way and bring them into Silva or
We
anything
did
like
talk
that?
about having, well, let me back up a little bit. We did try that. We did try a trip, a route to Cashers a few years ago. Every day we went to Cashers, and we had very few riders.
Hmm.
It just did not take off. We had a few riders that, some of the teachers that rode up to Blue Ridge School.
Mhm.
Some days we would have 2 people. Some days we'd have 1 person. It just, and we tried it for a period of time. We did it for about 6 months, I think. And it just, with the intention of going into Cashers, if people desired that, thinking that, well, you could go up, and we have a driver in Cashers. She's a part-time driver, and she takes people to the senior center up there. She also takes some people to the grocery store and whatnot. Thinking that we could take people from Silva to Cashers, and she could maybe just, shuttle them from one place to the other, and then we would meet back up in the evening and bring them back.
Mhm.
But it just didn't. The interest was not there, and we pushed it for 6 months, and it just didn't
Hmm.
take off. But we do have a driver that stays in Cashers, which initially was for taking people to the senior center, and that fluctuates. She had several, then she didn't have that many. But she does also do some medical trips for people up there, and she does a few trips for people to pick up groceries and whatnot. So we do have that availability in Cashers, but we did try that for 6 months, and it just didn't work out.
And like, sort of the same thing with Cullowhee? Has there been
Now,
any?
we talked about trying a kind of like a trolley route, a
Mhm.
second trolley route to Cullowhee. And we talked about that with the director that was there before. We worked on that a little bit. But my thoughts on that was, you can't have just a one spot pickup for people up there, because say if you went to the rec department and you went from the rec department back to Walmart, and you did that even 3 times a day for people. But my thought on that was, a lot of people, if they're using transit, they can't get from the old Cullowhee Road to the rec department. You would have to spread it out, because if they're using transit, a lot of people, they don't have a way of getting from where they live to that one spot.
Yeah.
It would take a lot of figuring out and thinking about how it would best help people that needed that transportation. And we did talk about it, but we did not get everything planned for it. And the other part of that was the fact that we didn't really have a driver to cover that route at the time. So
I have these crazy ideas every once in a while, and I was thinking about that exact thing about how you get from your house to a pickup point where
That's
you
right.
could get on the transit.
Uh-huh.
And I came up with this idea that you could have sort of like an Uber service
Mhm.
just on one road.
Right.
You just have somebody on Caney Fork who would be the transit driver, but it would be kind of on a demand.
On a demand service, yeah.
And they would be available all the time and probably, be on a retainer or something,
Mhm.
who would just take people down to the stop where
Mhm.
the transit bus would pick them up.
Well, we actually go up Caney Fork,
Oh.
door to door,
Oh,
if it's
okay.
scheduled and we can
Uh-huh.
fit it in. We pretty much go to the Tuckasegee area every morning and
Hmm.
pick up clients. We have a couple of that go to Disability Partners. Then we have a couple that go to the Adult Daycare Center. So we're in
Hmm.
Tuckasegee area every day, every morning and every afternoon, pretty much. And then we do go up Caney Fork. It's just that we don't have a lot of need for that right now. It kind of comes and goes.
Yeah.
We were picking up a young lady that was attending class at SCC a couple of days a week and getting her down there. And some, I don't think we took her back because of the hours, but a family member picked her up. But it was a help to her for us to get her to class. So yeah, we cover that area, but as of the door-to-door service.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Let's see. I think you've covered everything I have on my list. Do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about?
I really don't. We talked a little bit about, I had some notes about our training.
Mhm. And
the-
you
the-
said you're looking for 2 drivers right now?
I'm looking for 2 part-time drivers. We actually have one that has applied, and we've talked with him, and we haven't followed up yet, given him just a little bit of time to think about it. And so that spot might be filled, but I still definitely have one.
What kind of requirements does somebody need in terms of driver's license?
That's all that they need is a regular driver's license.
Mm.
We do have 2 buses that require CDL licenses with the passenger endorsement, only because they will transport that many people. But we only have the 2. I talked about the one that we do with the senior trip that will transport 20 people. You have to have a passenger's endorsement for the CDL for that. We don't have any vehicles with the what are the brakes? I can't think of what I'm trying to think of. We don't have any of those, so you don't have to have that as part of your CDL. Air brakes. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of that. So really, for the part-time, we 2 of our part-time drivers has the CDL with the passenger endorsement. That's not something that I'd say they absolutely have to have, since we only have the 2 vehicles that require it. The trolley that goes around town only transports 8 people, so you don't have to have the CDL for that. So for new employees, like the part-time one, as long as they have a valid North Carolina driver's license and can pass the background check and a pre-employment drug test, they're good to go.
Can you talk about what the pay scale would be?
For the part-time drivers, it starts out at $13.75 an hour. It's an hourly, yeah, and there's no benefits with it. So, and to me, the best part-time person that you can get, or that would want the position, is someone that may have retired somewhere else, and they want to do that. They want to be busy. It doesn't pay a lot. I can't change that. But they typically get 20 to 30 hours a week. Should be around 20, but with us being short 2 people, they get a little more than that sometimes. But that's typically who does the trolley, is a part-time person in the morning and one in the afternoon. That doesn't mean it has to be, but that's just kind of the way. And we do a lot of the out-of-county trips with a part-time person as well if we need to. But yeah, that's the only qualifications for that. And they do have to pass that pre-employment drug test, and we do have random drug testing quarterly. And I talked a little bit about the annual training, and that's like defensive driving, bloodborne pathogens, first aid, just your basic training they go through yearly, plus the before they ever get to go out and drive, they go through all that training and learning how to secure a wheelchair properly and all of that we have pretty intense training for new people. It's not difficult, but it's just what they need to know, because they are transporting people, and you need to make sure they know how to do so safely.
Mhm. So, I guess you can give us your phone number
Mhm.
for people to call in.
Absolutely.
And we'll also make a sign in the video with phone
Okay.
numbers and stuff like that. And
Okay.
there's a website.
Yeah, there is a website. It's just jacksontransit.org, and the phone number is, of course, it's 828-586-0233. You call that
Okay.
number. And that being said, as if it's on a Saturday or Sunday, because we're only open Monday through Friday, if people need to make a cancellation, they can call and leave a message on the machine to cancel, like if they wanted to cancel for Monday, because if we come to your place and you don't cancel, you will be charged for a no-show for that. And there's no reason ever for that, because you can call at any time, 24 hours a day, to cancel. And we do encourage people, because we don't want to charge them with that.
Mhm. And
no-show.
but I guess about paying,
Mhm.
you pay in cash or credit cards?
We still
or
pay in cash.
Okay.
We're still, we're not.
Exact
the ass-
change only?
That's right. The driver doesn't make change. That is
Okay.
correct.
Hmm.
The
That's
money
good to
goes
know.
into a fare box, and they don't have access to it.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, the dispatcher, and that's a good thing, that the driver doesn't have access
Yeah.
to the monies there. But I've got the assistant director working on a fare card that people can put money on, and the drivers use tablets, and they'll be able to scan those fare cards, and it will deduct the amount from the fare card, and that will at least be a step up from just having cash. But yeah, I remind people all the time, you gotta have cash, because people don't carry cash so much anymore.
Yeah.
And I do remind them that, but we are working on getting a fare card, so that people can put money on that card and use it until the balance goes down, and then they can put money on it again. And that can go to the driver, can add the money to the fare card. They don't have to come to the office, but they can if they want to. So we're working on it. But right now, we're still cash only.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a great service to me.
It is a good service, I think, and yeah, we are always striving to do better, and to increase trips and provide what people need.
Mhm.
That's what we do. We provide transportation.
Helping people out in our community.
Yes, that's what we're trying to do.
Great.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for coming in today and telling us all about this.
You're
And
very welcome.
we,
Thank
you
you.
ever have anything else that you want to share with us, we'd be glad to do another interview.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Thank you both.